Hey everybody, what's up? Thanks for coming back. Welcome to my channel, The Ready Nurse Nay. I talk about healthcare, nursing, inspirational related topics. Today's video, I'll be talking about my first professional healthcare conference that I went to in August of 2023. What was the name of the conference, what we talked about, what I learned, and how was it? So I got my little notes here, I'll be looking at it. Let's go. So first, what is it? So it's a professional healthcare conference that I attended in August of 2023. It is Converging Roads, and it is put on by St. John Paul II Foundation. I think that's the organization that founded it. And then it has a whole bunch of sponsors and donations and stuff to basically keep this conference going. And it's in different cities all over the USA. And I attended the one here in Louisiana. So the mission of this conference, it says, for Converging Roads, where healthcare ethics and medicine converge. A regional conference series offering continuing education for healthcare professionals that equips them to practice the highest ethical and medical standards of their profession. So the idea of this conference is taking medical practice and ethics and converging them together so that you can make ethical decisions in your practice of healthcare. And so it was open to any professional in the healthcare field, and the speakers were a range of different healthcare field specialties. There were doctors, there were nurses, there were physical therapists, there were nonprofit organizers, like CEOs and different things like that. There was also different like clergy, Catholic clergy there, like a bishop, priest, and different things like that as well. That were part of the speakers, and also part in attendance. And in attendance, they also had students from different healthcare professions as well. So that was pretty cool. Basically, I just said who was a mix of healthcare professionals from all different backgrounds that were as part of the speakers and as part of the attendees. So this was an actual conference. You could attend it at the actual event center that it was held at, or you can attend in person. And it qualified you for continuing education units and credits. So if you are a healthcare professional, you need those CEUs to keep your license updated. You were able to get that from this conference. The tickets ranged in price from $80 to $140. If you were online, I want to say they're like $80. If you were in person, it was $140. However, if you were a student healthcare professional, there were like scholarships that you could apply for as a student, and you can get free entry, which is pretty awesome. At this conference, they provided breakfast, lunch. They had complimentary drinks all throughout the conference. They also provided a wine and cheese reception at the end of the conference, which is really nice. So you are being fed, the price of the tickets and donations and all those things, you're being fed and taken care of while you're learning and growing in your knowledge in the ethics and healthcare realm. So that was pretty awesome. And the facility that they had, that was really nice as well too. Like I said, it was in August of 2023. But they have conferences all over the USA. If you go to their website, forlifeandfamily.org, you can gain more information on other conferences all over the USA about different things. They have the Converging Road Conference focuses on healthcare and ethics and converging together. There's also a conference that is for like marriage and family, and then there's one for like Catholic Church clergy, and in that realm. So if you go to the website, there's different conferences listed in different states. If it's something you're interested in, you can go to it, get some CEUs, meet some people, and enjoy. So this was all day on a Saturday. It started at 7:30 and it ended at 5:45. However, the actual speakers started at 9:15, and it ended at 5. And then from 5 to 5:45 was a wine and cheese reception. So you can kind of pick which time you wanted to come. Basically, so let's talk about the speakers. There were 8 speakers from different backgrounds. I'm kind of talk to you about my favorite speakers, some of the main takeaways, plus any helpful resources that the speaker provided. So there were 8 speakers from different healthcare professions or clergy positions. There was a bishop, he spoke. There was also a man, Mark Bradford. He is appointed World of Fire Institute's Fellow for persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It says he's a passionate advocate for those born with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. He basically gave some alarming stats about how people who have intellectual and developmental disabilities have a higher chance of abuse and mistreatment, especially if they can't, communicate what happened to them. They have a higher chance. He talked about ways to prevent these things, as well as he talked about, which I thought was interesting, they have their, their own physical changes as well as their own like sexuality. So how can you let someone with intellectual or developmental disability express their like sexuality in a healthy way that is, I guess, representative of who they are, but also without putting them in without letting anybody take advantage of them, which I thought was very interesting. I never looked at it like that before, and so that was very interesting. Also, they gave us this little booklet, and it basically has all the information about the speakers in here. There's like a note section at the end, and it came inside this folder. This is what the folder looks like, with all these different stuff in here. So it was very organized. But yeah, I enjoyed Mark's presentation. It made me think of how do you hire, hiring good people who have a good heart and good intentions to take care of people, different vulnerable populations, without taking advantage of those people. How do you hire those people? How do you keep those people and then train them so that they can hire good people as well? So that's what it made me think of. Another speaker who I really enjoyed was Mary Bruno. She is I think a physical therapist, and her website is fabmbase.org. So FABMBASE.org, and she works in women's health and also physical therapy. So her book is about permanent infertility. She had some health issues and different things going on that caused her to have to be permanently infertile. Like she had to, I think, have different reproductive parts removed for certain reasons, but it caused her to be permanently infertile. And so she talks about her infertility journey and how her book is called 12 Stripes Deep: How Infertility and Other Suffering Delivered My Greatest Joys. It was published in 2022, so I think you can go to the website and get her book. But she really delivered very personal, informative presentation about infertility and how there's purpose beyond that. If you are dealing with infertility, or someone who's dealing with infertility, I would definitely recommend go get her book. But there's purpose beyond that, and like how the Bible, when it talks about being fruitful and multiplying, that's not just with kids. You can be fruitful and multiply, in your career. You can be fruitful and multiply with your relationships. If you're married, with a spouse. If you're not married, with friends, or like for friends or family, you can be fruitful and multiply, and anything and everything that's good. So her presentation was really good. Another one that I really love was Susan Caldwell, Dr. Susan Caldwell. She has a website. It's drsusancaldwell.com, drsusancaldwell.com, and she talked about she specializes in women's health. That's what she works in. And so she talked about, says, authentic femininity and reproductive health that upholds the dignity of all human life and aligns with the teachings of the Catholic Church. So her stuff was, I think the one thing that she said that stuck out to me was affirming your female patients. Now, obviously, you should affirm all your patients, okay? You listen to all your patients, but affirming your female patients. I don't know if you have ever had an experience where you went to a doctor and they have ignored you. You're telling them what's going on with your body and they ignore you, or dismiss you, and it can make you feel this small. It makes you feel this small, like questioning yourself, like maybe I'm a little crazy, maybe I'm not feeling that way. But if you affirm your patients, you empower them to make their own decisions. You're empowering them with their education. You're empowering them to make decisions. Let's talk about, how do you affirm your patients? And so I wrote this down. So to affirm your patients, you provide them with education, options, and resources that they can make the best decision that is possible for them. So affirming your patients. And we can do that in any healthcare profession, in any area of life. Affirming your patients, affirming the people around you by providing with education about that topic, options, different options, and resources available to help them, whatever topic or area that is, so that they can make the best decision that is best for them. That is how you empower your patients, and you can affirm them in this way as well. Some things that I wrote down, questions just to think about, is how to empower patients who are different from you. How do you empower patients who are different than you? And also, how do you empower patients that are at a disadvantaged situation or population group? So just stuff to think on. Empowering patients that are different from you or in a disadvantaged situation or population group, right? In the hospital setting, empowering those patients that are in a disadvantaged population or situation. We have case managers that can provide different things if they can't afford medicine or different resources or something. We have case managers to help them, and so they help with that empowering and affirming our patients, which is pretty awesome. Other speakers, another one was by Dr. Anthony Isako. He's a psychologist, and he talked about mental health. It was like mental health and what is the church's role should be in like mental health. And he basically was like, the church can be as active or least active as they want to be. As active as they want to be by making their own mental health facilities or something available on church grounds with healthcare professionals, or as little active, maybe just paying for members to go to counseling sessions out, with a professional. So that was pretty cool, because sometimes like in churches that could be like a taboo thing a little bit, but I think more people are getting on the I don't want to say on the trend, but being educated about how serious it is, and it's been talked about more in different churches, and just kind of like in areas that it has not been talked about originally within the last like 10 years. So I thought that was cool. Another person, the two other speakers, we had Tracy Windsor. She has a organization called Be Not Afraid, and you can go Google to go to her website, Be Not Afraid, and she basically is a case management support service for parents carrying to term following a prenatal diagnosis. So no matter how, I don't want to, how less serious to more severe serious, prenatal diagnosis is a case management support service to carry, to provide support to women who are carrying to term, to actually deliver a baby that has some type of prenatal diagnosis, how stressful and intense that could be. She provides support services of different kinds, networks of doctors, networks of support groups, resources, help with financial services or whatever. She's a good resource for that. So it's Tracy Windsor, Be Not Afraid. So you can just Google Be Not Afraid and visit her website. I enjoyed her presentation a lot. It stuck with me. She had an actual patient like testimony on there, whatever, a testimonial about how the support service helped her, and it was pretty powerful. So I enjoyed her. Last but not least, my favorite was Sister Michaela Serper, a pharmacist, Dr. Sister Michaela Serper. So this is a nun, like actual full nun dressed up in nun wear, and she is a pharmacist, y'all, and she has all kinds of titles and licenses and all kinds of stuff behind her name. I don't even know what some of that stuff is, but I know she's a she has a doctorate in pharmacy and all these licenses. Okay, very intelligent. She presented really well, really enthusiastically, and she talked about really enthuastically in her presentation. I wrote notes on her stuff because I enjoyed her stuff so well. Let me get my notes. So I liked her stuff. She actually spoke first, but she talked about, I think one big thing that stood out to me about her was she talked about having your desires within the limits of what is honorable. So as healthcare professionals, you have all this knowledge. And everybody has desires, okay? But letting God use your desires and your intellect to do what is honorable. You know what I'm saying? Because technically we all could do whatever we want. But if you're a Christian, you want to use let God use your intellect and desires and to do what is honorable. Because if it's just you alone and you're with your intellect, you could cause so much destruction and chaos with just your intellect, leading people astray and causing harm, or even just your desires. You know, you can hurt people and cause terrible things happen if you're just being led by your desires or your intellect. But if you have God in the picture, God can take those things and put it in the scope of what is honorable. I thought that was powerful. That stuck with me. I drew like a little, little chart. Desires, intellect, God. Pull them into what is honorable. That stuck with me. Another thing that she mentioned, advocating how, of course, as healthcare professionals, we advocate for our patients' healing, comfort, and health. But there'll be times, a lot of times, where we're going to be advocating for a peaceful death. As healthcare professionals. Because we all have to die one day, and when we go, we want to go peacefully. So part of being a healthcare professional, when we know a patient is dying, advocating for that patient's death. And part of advocating that, maybe providing education and resources and stuff for the family, letting them know the truth about what's going on. And obviously this is the doctor's job, but letting them know the truth about what is going on so that they can make an informed decision for the benefit of that patient. And I thought what else was pretty cool, because it's talking about moral ethics, we actually did different scenarios. So this is like scenarios of different moral dilemmas, and we kind of like talked about like how would you handle it, moral dilemmas, ethical dilemmas. So this is the shortest one. I'm gonna read it for you. So you are a junior doctor on call at a local hospital. A colleague arrives at the hospital to take over from you smelling of alcohol. This is not the first time this colleague has arrived at work smelling of alcohol. What do? So that's kind of like a moral dilemma. So obviously you would report it, right? Because if they're inebriated, like, they can cause harm to a patient. So you're going to report that person that smells of alcohol. But then, you could throw in some extra things that, maybe make it a little bit more sticky. Like, what if the person that is inebriated, or that colleague that smells of alcohol, is your best friend? What if they're, a family member, right? What if they are your boss? What if they are, I don't know, somebody who's just in a direct authority position over you in the work realm? So it can make things a little bit sticky, So we actually discussed different moral dilemmas and handling that. How would you handle it? Why would you handle it lightweight? Would you handle it different if the situation were different? So that was pretty interesting. I would say all in all, there also were recruiters there. So like job recruiters and things like that there as well. Attending the conference, different clinics. And I think what was cool about this conference, you got to intermix and mingle with all the speakers. You got to, ask them more questions, talk with them, kind of pick their brain about certain things that may have piqued your interest during that presentation. So I thought that was pretty cool. All in all, I enjoyed the conference. I definitely would go again because it was a good experience. I had fun. I actually made a short about it was like a little video short on my page. If you go on my page and look under the videos and the shorts, there's like a little clip about like showing me at the actual conference with little snippets. So yeah, but that was it. So hopefully this was interesting. Peace, love, and blessings, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.